Heather Bode,
Yes.
we're going to start here. I recently posted complaints about terrain and train race, and nobody from their company will get back to me short of Dustin, who we all love from the community, but not quite sure how he's going to fix timing, photography, other production issues. You went to a race this weekend, and did you see the post that I was tagged in? Well, first of all, I saw something in your story. You're like, boo, here's a rickety ass obstacle that was closed down. So you want to start with that? You want to start with that, and then we'll read the post of the guy that posted earlier.
Yeah, so there was this one obstacle. None of the obstacles have names, so it's hard to like describe. It was this obstacle where it's like a rigging that just kind of you climb up one side, you go across a cargo net at the top, and then so the cargo net is kind of draped along the top and about halfway down the other side. And so you climb up, go across the cargo net, and then climb the cargo net down the other side, but it only goes about halfway. And I did it on my first lap, and even at that point, before part of the pipe broke on the far side that made them close it down, even at the beginning, it was so shaky that a volunteer was actually sitting on the side of it to kind of keep it sturdy. So this volunteer is like sitting and leaning into the side pole to just keep the whole thing from moving around. And then when I was on top on the cargo net, so it's kind of loose a little bit, so you sink. I kind of crawled over to the other side, and I go to put my leg over and crawl down the cargo net on the other side, and the whole thing shifted. And like my body almost got thrown off. I was like, oh. And so I like sturdied myself. A friend of mine kind of kept the cargo net taut, which made it easier for me to climb down. But I got off that obstacle. I was like, someone is going to get injured on this thing today. Like that was my very first thought. And then the next lap I did, it was probably about 30 or 40 minutes later. It was closed at that point because one of the pipes that you use to climb up had broken. But I was like, that was the smartest decision they could have done because that was a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Now, were you doing their AMRAP or whatever? What do they call their extreme or whatever?
Just unlimited laps. That's what they call it.
Is there rewards for it, or it's just like, hey, as many as you want to do?
Yeah, there's no real rewards. It's as many as you want to do. You get like a little pin that you pin onto your medal, onto like the ribbon of your medal. Right. And so I just wanted extra training. So
no, that's fine. But I also noticed you come back from each lap, neither wet nor muddy. And when I saw that you were starting and finishing in a parking lot, I'm like, that's no big deal. Because like, remember when I met you in SoCal last year, mud or Vegas was like that, but there was mud on the course. So what was the course, and could there have been water and they just avoided it? We'll get to you in a second, Mike, by the way.
Yeah, no rush.
Stand patiently with your nice beard. I'm going to look up something while you're answering those. So
okay.
I'm listening.
All right. I think they probably could have had water. They actually had a water truck, and there was one point where they were sort of spraying water onto one little stretch, this little like dry canyon run. But I didn't get it. They weren't spraying enough water to actually create mud or anything. So there was a water truck. I'm not sure what it was there for, but the entire course was dry. It was at Glen Helen. So it was just this dry path, hill, just more trails. And there wasn't, unless they actually like made the effort and investment to like dig a ditch or create mud, there wasn't like a really good spot that naturally lent itself to water and mud. But I mean, there's a couple places that they really wanted to make it muddy they could have, especially that one spot where the truck was kind of pouring water in that creek, because they could have made that really muddy, but they didn't. So actually, the only time I got wet was because I would pour water on myself because it was really hot. So I would just like pour water on myself. And then at the last lap, on my fourth lap, I did the monkey bars. And then before I got off, I got to the other side. I went back up and just fell in because I really wanted to get in the water.
Mike, go ahead, buddy.
Do you think that they were trying to like reduce the dust kick-up, or like that's the only thing that I could think of why they would like put a small layer of water down or something?
Maybe, but honestly, it wasn't so bad in that dry creek run area. That was probably in like the last half mile of the course. The worst was that big hill that we all did because people are going up and down the hill and it was really steep. So like giant dust clouds. I was
Yeah.
really mad I didn't bring my bring my buff. It really could have come in handy.
I think we lost Mappy Davis.
Oh no,
There he is.
Mappy Davis. There he is.
So I can't find the post, but basically a guy said that podium is completely wacky. People, they have a hard time figuring out who completed and who didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to every single race they've done and you'll see where are my pictures, where are my results? And they usually come well after. So
Yeah.
I think they're on their last legs and have been. I can't get anybody to get on the horn with me. Dustin seems genuinely surprised they didn't get back to me, and I'm like, anyway, we'll see. What are you?
When we tried to interview the owner about a year and a half ago, totally blew us off. So we
wasn't that your experience, Mike?
I remember hearing about that from them, and then when I went there,
can you turn your volume up, Mike? You're super quiet.
Shit. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, when I got there, I'm like, oh, like who can I talk to? Because I emailed them, didn't get anything. So I'm like, I guess I'm just gonna show up and see who I can talk to. And I could hear the radio. It was like, oh no, not me. And eventually this girl that had no idea. Yeah. So it wasn't the best interview, but I couldn't find really anyone either. But I did hear about your bad experience, Heather.
Yeah. I've been emailing Dustin. I need to email him back. I'm probably going to try interviewing him this week. And I mean, hopefully he'll have answers for me. I have a lot of questions. We'll see.
And again, I really like that guy. I feel bad for the position. But he seems kind of oblivious right now. So
I think it's a shame because honestly, there were a lot of things about terrain I liked, but it was like one of those things where it's like, they had a little bit more money to like make all these different things be a little bit better. It could be a really cool race, but
do you know what?
You can just tell it's a little it's lacking. It's a little sparse around the edges. So
Mike, do you know how much they charge for a race?
Yeah. $30.
Okay. So when I read an ad,
wait, did you say $30? Their parking was $15.
Oh my god.
Their parking is half the amount of the ticket. Oh my god!
Now, what if I told you that I got an email, Mike, that says the prices are going to go up in 2 weeks? True or not true?
It's not true, and I fell for it. I was drinking. I was at a wedding, and I'm like, "Oh, price increase! Let me jump on it." Yeah, no, that they never stay true to that. So, pro tip: don't listen to them.
All right, so let's move on to today's exciting festivities. Who's read Hunter's post and the 200+ comments since?
Well, not all the comments, but
all of them.
All right. Well, here's the beauty of this app. We can actually start by showing the video. How great is this? Hold on. I can share my screen. Let me make sure I have all inappropriate things closed.
he's not kidding too.
No,
I know.
The truth. Oh my God. It's not letting me. It's saying I am kidding. I don't have it, dude. I have kids, so there's nothing appropriate on phones or computers. Once they get over age 2, that kind of goes away, unless you want to have like a secret phone, which I'm not doing. Okay,
you don't have a burner.
This is saying I need to be on the upgraded thing, but I just upgraded. Gosh darn it! So
let me try.
This is really. Keith Allen will not join us, ladies and gentlemen.
Haven't joined me. I want Keith Allen to join us.
I know. Keith, HBOD just asked you to join us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can't show the video. Damn it. Why won't it?
Hold on, give me a second.
Can you do it?
Before we totally move away from terrain race, one thing I just really wish they would do is just make normal walls. I hate that their walls don't reach the ground. It's rickety, it's unsafe, and it hurts. I want normal walls.
Are you trying to share your screen, Mike?
I think I can. I mean, rudimentary, unless you can do something better.
Ah.
If I just turn around and play it on my laptop.
Pretty ghetto. Go ahead and hit play. So
I can see enough.
Here comes Robert Killian. He picks up a bag. Seems a little light. Peaks. It's leaking a little, and off he goes. Now keep playing it though, because we want to.
There's a woman.
Yeah.
We want to. She picks it up from a similar bin,
and he goes further.
Here comes He-Man himself, Ryan Woods, and it is much more of a struggle as he gets it on.
Yeah.
And off he goes. All right, so Hunter saying clearly cheating. Hammond saying not cheating, it was a men's bag. I guess there's the distinction in red and black bands. Now, I want to quickly say I asked all these people to come on tonight, and they were somewhere between a not available, Facebook not working, and then pussing out on talking. So I'm calling people out because they did go back and forth on that chat, and then nobody wanted to talk. I was like, well, if you're going back and forth in the chat, let's not be keyboard warriors. Let's do this like men, as it were. Sorry, Heather. I don't know what the proper
adults.
The 2018 way of doing it is. Yes, adults.
Adults. There you go.
And these people are like, I'm friendly with these people, friends of mine. So Woodsy and Hunter both were like, no, I don't want to do it. I've already said what I want to say. DI said the same thing to me, but then he did commit to coming on tomorrow. So I'll probably have him on tomorrow if he comes through. What are your initial thoughts looking at all this? What are your initial thoughts? We'll go to Mike first.
I'll say what I've always said. Rec bags started in this side of the country, and it's a fantastic bag. I think they're comfortable. I think that's Joe DeSena's problem with it, but they don't leak. They're strong as hell. They don't absorb water. So all of those bullshit excuses go right out the window if you get proper equipment. Those sandbags are garbage. You can see it leaking out of it. Whether or not the cheating accusations, I can't really comment on that, but I do think Spartan Race should get better equipment to reduce the amount of times stuff like this happens.
What do you think about the back and forth today, though? What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't get to read enough of it to comment on that, but I did note that Hunter McIntyre sounds like Trump when he talks sometimes.
Interesting. Interesting. What do you say, H. Bode?
So I think as far as the cheating aspect, it's a gray area because I think he did pick up the men's bag because it was the black buckles, but clearly it was a mostly empty bag. The ease at which he threw it up, it looked lighter than the women's bag. And the rules of the race are, you do the men's bag, and he did the men's bag. So it's a gray area as far as calling him an outright cheater. I don't think that's correct. It's sort of, he took advantage of the fact that Spartan did not check their equipment. And it's very interesting because even if they don't want to invest in better sandbags, at the very least, if it's a championship race, check your equipment, check to make sure everything is good, at least for the first elite waves, because, they're racing for big checks and titles. And so just at the very least, take 5 minutes to have a staff member check the sandbags to make sure that they're good, ultimately, it'd be nice if they would invest in better equipment, but it kind of falls on Spartan with this one, I think.
Here's my blanket experience of volunteers at obstacle races. Just let me finish and then we'll get to it. Volunteers can't get placed till they show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's job in the morning is gathering those people. What if their call time's 5:30? Okay, we need 150, 120 showed up. Let's figure out where we're going to place them. And there's a plan in place. Here's the instructions for each obstacle. I'm supposed to go over these instructions with them as well. And then I'm going to put these various things. In a worst case scenario, time is super short and it's, this is the ATV driving each obstacle. Get out. That's your obstacle. Get out. There's your obstacle. And if someone's a Spartan, right? Like Joe Spartan, right? Let's say a Josh Chase, right? He's probably going to inspect each thing to the best of his ability, right? If it's somebody that just wanted a free race, if it's somebody from the local group, they could be from ambivalent to really not giving a shit, right?
Yeah.
Looking at their phone, et cetera, et cetera. Our assumption is that a championship race that Spartan is getting the best of the best, or at least really trying in certain obstacles. But I'm guessing that maybe when they started doing this 6 years ago, it was the spear. Like, okay, we got to have somebody good at the spear to make sure they're doing their burpees. But then every year there's some new fucking thing, right? So 2 years ago, it was Killian on the bell, or Killian's foot hit the ground in Nashville, which was the same race that Ryan went up the wrong rope and fell off. And so then Spartan goes, what do you want us to do? It's free help. And then people went bananas. What do you mean it's free help? Why aren't you doing this better?
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's not the volunteers. You want them to be great, and a lot of them really are, but they're volunteers. They're not getting paid for this. Like, they're there to help guide the race. I don't think they should. They're in charge of race standards. I think that falls on the race. And I was looking at the comments, and Brenna was saying that, you know, responsibility shouldn't be on volunteers, and I agree. If you want to be taken seriously as a championship race, like, it's up to you to make, like, it's up to the race to maintain race standards. Don't blame the volunteers. Just saying.
Well, I agree, and that's what we're saying, is that people say, well, they should be paying the volunteers, and I realize that's a really expensive proposition, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm guessing that the least qualified volunteer goes at a wall, right? Here's a radio in case somebody falls off and gets themselves hurt. Mm-hmm. But again, even I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I think it doesn't even have to be as expensive as paying all the volunteers to do this. I think it's just a matter of checking standards and taking the time to make sure every volunteer is up to date with the actual rules, like clearly explain the rules, clearly explain the standards. Sandbags are checked, buckets are checked by staff members. And that could take like 20 minutes. And it's a way less expensive solution.
But again, they're dropping these people off at a site, probably giving them the rules, probably giving them a little, what do you call it, lanyard feast. And they probably said, yeah, can you check these bags? And what do they get? Is some girl going to lift 80 and 100-pound bags out of the thing?
It's not their responsibility. I don't think that should fall on the volunteers.
That should fall on a paid person who's like the zone leader of that person. Now let's talk about what Brenna said here. Same with the log carrier. I picked the smaller log. It's strategy. If he grabbed a guy's, not his fault, it's lighter. So what people are saying is giving him the benefit of the doubt. He picks this things up. It's pretty light. And he's like, whatever, it's a men's. I'm going to keep going, which maybe isn't the worst thing. If I'm doing a log obstacle, I'm probably going for that lighter log.
Yep. He took advantage of what was already there. And he didn't break any rules.
And I gotta say, and I've talked about this a lot lately, I am not running at full speed most of the time, and it's real easy to pick things when you're not running at full speed. When you're running full speed, you can get lost easier. You just kind of do what's in front of you. Hey, the volunteer told me to do this, so I just listened to, oh, well, you should know better because you're a racer. It's like, yeah, but I was just, when you're actually going full speed, and these guys, I can't even come close to thinking where their head's at because I'm not racing for the kind of money they're racing at. But I just know when I've pushed myself, brain, you know, you're trying to just
tunnel vision,
right?
Yeah. I mean, and all you're thinking about is like that tunnel vision of staying on course, following the rules, doing that. You're not thinking of the consequences and things and, oh, what if they didn't do this right? You're like, these are the rules I know. This is the race I'm trying to win. It's actually an interesting topic I've discussed with other people before, because there's a lot of women who, when they're racing, they'll do the men's weights, just because they want to do it. Yeah, because they want to do it. And when I'm racing for time, like, I know I can do the men's weight, but I will do the women's weights are actually a little bit easier for me because a lot of my strength lies in my my legs. And so anytime I'm doing strength obstacles, I'm cool sticking with the women's weight, even though it's they feel pretty light to me, but that's the rules in front of me. And I'm racing according to the rules that they set out for me. And I sort of get that whole, like I know I can do the weight, but I'm like, I'm going to race the race that's set in front of me. And the race in front of me is there are weights for women, and I'm going to do those. And so, it's just, I mean, it's running the race as it's laid out. Hope that makes sense and I didn't ramble.
No, it totally made sense, except for the part where you said your what did you say?
Strength was in her waist.
My legs. I meant my legs. Real strong waist.
Aren't so your arms aren't strong?
They're pretty strong. They're getting stronger. And especially in the last year, I've greatly improved in upper body obstacles, but I got thick thighs, and that's where a lot of my power comes from with the sandbag, the bucket carry, all the heavy stuff, Herc hoist, the sled drag. I use my legs a lot. So a lot of the women's weights, like, it's not entirely easy, but like those are the obstacles where I'm like, okay, cool, got this. This one's easy.
Okay, so there's a couple of great quotes here on the thing. So hey, Warren Caputo. Hey, oh my God, so many quotes. Adam Quitko says, I believe the term is quality control. Yes, that's the term we're looking for. Now here's something interesting. Chun Zach Lee, who I know is a longtime volunteer. Mm-hmm. The Spartan staff during the build week are supposed to weigh the bags. Volunteers don't weigh anything. Volunteers are just babysitters. That's the build team. That makes a lot more sense, right? Mm-hmm. Except this comment's so big you can't see my face, which is very pretty. So the build team is supposed to be out there. We should get old Garf on here to talk about that. This is marketing by Hunter that will lead to a pay-per-view clip. Keith Allen, I don't know if Keith is kidding or not. Keith is saying, do we know who took this video? How odd is that it just came out? Keith Allen, that is in fact Spartan Live Facebook feed, as you can hear the announcers talking over that. So that's what that was. I don't know if he was kidding or not. But that makes actually a lot more sense that you would have them. But again, during the week, what is that? Tuesday, and then maybe somebody comes and moves the bags during the thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a simple check that could take 5 minutes before a race. Yep. And this whole thing could have been avoided.
Right. And I just get super frustrated because here we are, and it is God knows how many years in that we still, and they're like, okay, we'll do a better job with the bags next time, until the next thing comes up. I mean, that thing with Ryan and the rope, to me, I thought was the last one. Okay, we've never seen this. No elite has ever not failed a rope. Yeah. Now we've seen everything we could see, whether the arrow sticks here or in the wood or on the thing, like 27 different fucking, you know what I mean? It's very frustrating.
That's a tough thing about our sport. I mean, you even said that when you were the ultra marathon guy about like their sport is running, but even still, crazy things happen that you wouldn't really know, like when someone's pacing someone, like what's the role with that? And sometimes they allow little things to happen, and then they kind of snowball. And with Spartan Race, especially when there's a lot of things that aren't always like burpees, like there's so many different things, No, yeah, sorry, had to bring that up. But
you're super quiet again, Mike. You got really quiet again.
Sorry, it's just like things like burpees. It's just the absolute worst to say like, this is a burpee, this isn't. Drawing that line somewhere, whereas, I don't know. I just hate burpees, so I think about that a little bit. But
I think burpees are better than penalty laps.
Really?
I think have burpees or have mandatory obstacle completion.
Yes, otherwise it'd be like a runner's course.
Yeah, because penalty laps is like, you're done.
Yeah.
It's not really
what about Mutter does kind of combos, right? Mutter will have like a tire drag or a cement drag, right?
Yep.
That makes more sense. I like those. But like, for example, I think it was Toughest Mutter Austin or South, whatever. The penalty lap on Just the Tip was so short. And it almost kind of went back to the course anyway. So you're really only doing like an extra like 0.2 of a mile or something. Like it wasn't much. And I'm like, it didn't really feel like a penalty. Like I feel like it would have taken more time to go across Just the Tip than to run the penalty loop. So you know what? It's like there is a lot of problems with burpees being a penalty, but I think it's better than some of the other options out there.
I think burpees are dumb. I think it should be obstacle completion.
I think so too.
In a championship race, it should be obstacle completion. You should be able to do that. And, unless it's a 24-hour race, then you've got some options because nobody can be expected to do it for 24 hours unless you're Ryan Atkins.
Yeah. And I will say that the penalty laps, I'm talking like the penalty laps at Toughest Mudder, not World's Toughest Mudder. The penalty laps last year were really long, so those were good. But I'm like, the other.
Speaking of which, how's your World's Toughest Mudder training going, Michael?
It's going. I'm supposed to be getting ready for a run later tonight. Lots of night runs because I work till like 6:30, so that kind of sucks. Not having.
I heard it. My recollection about living in Boston is that it gets dark at like 4:30.
Yeah. So I'm home and it's already like pretty dark. So I'm wearing this thing, hoping I don't get hit by a car. But I'm trying to set like little goals in between. Like I should definitely be able to bang out a half marathon, no problem, and just trying to work on that while not ruining my knee again. So going back to physical therapy, making sure stuff's holding together, but working on upper body more than usual because that's usually my big issue, and I don't want to do all the penalty laps.
What about you, Heather?
Well, I'm not doing World's Toughest Mudder this year, sadly. Did I not tell you that? I thought I told you.
You said that maybe not because you
I was going to try and find a way, but I booked a wedding, so...
Why don't you come in the last day like you did before?
I might. Yeah, well, if Tough Mudder flies me out there, it's all about travel fees. So, I mean, I'd love to.
Up there, we're down south here in Atlanta.
Yeah. I can fly from LAX. I mean, that's not a terrible idea. I could just fly out early Sunday morning, get there before it ends, because that's what I did in 2016. But I am training. Well, my training's been kind of spotty lately, but I am aiming to do 30 miles at the rescheduled Toughest West. Toughest Mudder West.
Toughest.
So that's my next big goal.
West, which is now NorCal, not SoCal.
Yes. Yeah. So that's in about a month. And so trying to get 30 miles there because every 8-hour race I've done, I've increased by 5 miles. So now I'm on track to get 30 miles this time. So hopefully.
Real quick on that, how hot do you think it's going to be? Because the thing that I loved about Toughest East was that it's through the night, and I like when it's cold. I do best when it's cold. So when it's hot, I would hate that personally. Yeah.
So it's interesting because a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to be so much easier because it's during the day. You can see like you're not going to have to wear a wetsuit. I'm like, there's a lot of challenges doing an 8-hour race during the day that aren't present with an 8-hour race. Yeah, you're not running in a wetsuit, which is great. But I shot a wedding in around that area last year, and it was like almost 100 degrees. I mean, maybe that was a little hotter, but I mean, it's probably going to be pretty hot still. Yeah. And so I'm guessing it'll probably be at least 70s or 80s. And when you're running that long, it's just, you have to make sure you're not overheating. You have to make sure you're hydrating properly. It's bright. Like when I was running terrain race this weekend, I was like, oh God, I can't forget my sunglasses at Toughest because like it just wears you down. The sun really, it's this additional thing that saps your energy. And so it's going to be its own set of challenges.